Hi class, today's lesson is on section 5 of chapter 7, adding mixed numbers. The objective of the lesson is to find the sums of mixed numbers with and without renaming. There are two steps to remember when adding mixed numbers. The first one is to first add the whole numbers. So I'm going to write an example here. Let's do 2 1/3 plus 2 1/6. So the first step again is to add the whole numbers. So I'm going to take my 2 and my 2 and I'm going to add them together to get 4. The second step is to simply add the simple fractions. I have the simple fraction of 1/3 and 1/6. So 1/3 plus 1/6. Now from our lesson on adding fractions with unlike denominators, we know that we need to have like denominators. So I'm going to change my denominators to the least common denominator, which would be 6. 3 times 2 equals 6. So I multiply my 1 times 2, and that equals 2. My 6 is obviously how I got the least common denominator, so my 1 stays the same. Now again, for those of you that can't see it, my fraction is 2/6 plus 1/6. And again, 2/6 plus 1/6 is 3/6. Now I have my simplest fraction, which is actually in lowest terms 1/2. I also have my whole number 4 from adding 2 plus 2. When I bring the two together, the correct answer is 4 1/2. So again, the second step is to add the simple fractions and then pull the fractions, or the fraction and the whole number together to get your mixed number. Couple reminders: rename improper fractions as mixed numbers. So when adding two simple fractions together, if your numerator is larger than your denominator, you need to rename it as a mixed number. So for example, 12/5. 12/5 renamed is 2, and 2 times 5 equals 10. To get to 12, you need 2 more. Denominator stays the same. That's what renaming is. And the last reminder is to reduce fractions to simplest form. Now I'm going to pose a problem. Let's say Craig wants to rearrange the furniture in his room. His bed is 38 1/4 inches wide. His desk is 37 1/3 inches wide. And if he puts them side by side with a 6 1/2 inch gap between them, what is the total width of wall the furniture will take up? If I follow my simple steps, remember the first thing I instructed you to do is to add your whole numbers. So I'm going to write my 38, 37, and 6. When I add them together, 8 plus 7 is 15, plus 6 is 21. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So my whole number in the problem is 81 at this point in time. Now I'm going to add my fractions together. I'm going to line them up this way because it's easier for me to see them. Again, I am looking for the least common denominator between 1/4, 1/3, and 1/2. Or even if it's not the least common denominator, a common denominator, because you can always simplify to get the lowest fraction. I noticed that 12 is a common denominator between all three numbers, or denominators. In order to get from 4 to 12, I multiplied it by 3. So I'm going to do the same thing to 1. So that leaves me with 3. To get from 3 to 12, I multiplied that by 4. I'm going to multiply 1 by 4. And for the last one, in order to get from 2 to 12, I multiplied by 6. I'm going to do the same to the numerator so that I end up with 6. When I add all three of these fractions together, my denominator is going to stay the same. My numerator, however, is going to be 6 plus 4, which is 10, plus 3 is 13. Again, you may notice that I have an improper fraction. One of the important things to remember is that we rename improper fractions into mixed numbers. So 13 twelfths. 12 goes into 13 once. You have 1 left over. That's my numerator. My denominator stays the same. So 1 and 1/12 is my total then when adding my three simple fractions, 1/4, 1/3, and 1/2. Now a common mistake is going to be to forget about the whole number. Remember, the whole number we have is 81. So 81 is our whole number plus our simple fractions added together, which is 1 and 1/12. And you can see that we now have another whole number. 81 plus 1 is 82. My fraction is going to remain 1/12. So my answer then, if I want to include my label, would be 82 1/2 inches. Another sample problem. Let's do 9 1/4 plus 10 3/5. The first thing I'm going to choose to do is add my whole numbers together. So 9 plus 10 equals 19. Next, I'm going to look at my simple fractions. I have 1/4 and 3/5. The lowest common denominator between 1/4 and 3/5 is 20. To get from 4 to 20, we have to multiply by 5. So I'm going to multiply my 1 by 5 to get 5. Same thing with 3/5. To get from 5 to 20, I multiplied by 4. So I'm going to multiply my 3 by 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 5 plus 12, adding my numerators together, equals 17. Denominator stays the same. So 17/20. Bring in my whole number, which again was 19. So 19 plus 17/20. And again, your answer is going to be 19 17/20. I'm going to give you one problem to do for tomorrow. Problem that I want you to do tomorrow is 30 10/39 plus 50 and 45/78. Again, for tomorrow, please come in with the answer to 30 and 10/39 plus 50 and 45/78. Thank you. Have a great night.